Welcome to the Global War Watch Network. Today we're jumping into India's massive undertaking to forge an impenetrable air defense shield. You know, it's a fascinating story of cutting-edge weapons, serious geopolitical pressure, and a really bold push for self-reliance. If you're into this kind of analysis, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button right now.
Right, and this quote really just cuts straight to the chase. The problem is that New Delhi's big bet on the Russian S-400 is hitting a major snag. You've got sanctions and supply chain chaos stalling the whole thing. So that leaves a huge question hanging in the air. Can India's homegrown systems like Project Kusha fill that gap in time before the threats in the region get way ahead of their defenses?
So, okay, why all the rush? Well, it really just comes down to geography and, you guessed it, geopolitics. India is staring down the barrel of a potential two-front conflict with both China and Pakistan. So trying to secure its huge airspace against two very advanced adversaries at the same time, that's not just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute strategic necessity. It demands a tough, multi-layered air defense network, and fast.
Exactly. And we're not just talking about the usual threats anymore. The game has totally changed. It's not just regular fighter jets. We're talking about 5th-gen stealth fighters like China's J-20, which are literally designed to be invisible to older radar systems. Then you throw in long-range cruise missiles, ballistic threats, and, increasingly, these massive swarms of smart drones. The old air defense systems, they just weren't built for this kind of fight.
So, India's first and most powerful answer to this problem was to go out and buy the best system money could buy, Russia's S-400 Triumf. I mean, this thing is world-class. It's a long-range, surface-to-air missile system that can track and destroy all sorts of aerial threats from hundreds of kilometers away. On paper, it was pretty much the perfect plug-and-play solution.
But, of course, reality turned out to be a lot more complicated. The deal got signed back in 2018, and the first 3 of the 5 squadrons were delivered by 2023. But since then, global politics and sanctions have created a huge bottleneck. Now, Russia says they'll deliver the final 2 units by the end of 2026. That's years behind schedule, and it leaves some really dangerous gaps in India's air defense grid.
And let's just take a second to talk about the sheer scale of this investment. We are talking about $5.43 billion. This was not a small purchase. It was a massive, massive capital investment for what India considered a non-negotiable strategic capability. That price tag alone, it tells you how critical this system is to their defense plans.
Now here comes that geopolitical baggage we mentioned. Buying the S-400 put India in a really tough spot with the U.S. law called CAATSA. Basically, this law is designed to punish any country that buys Russian military gear. For India, which is trying to build a closer partnership with the U.S., this created an incredibly tricky diplomatic tightrope to walk. How do you buy a critical Russian system without getting hit by sanctions from your key American partner?
So facing all these supply delays and political headaches, India decided to fast-track its long-term answer, Project Kusha. Now, this isn't just about building another missile system. It's a major strategic pivot. It's an ambitious national project that's all about achieving self-reliance, or what they call Atmanirbhar Bharat, in one of the most critical areas of defense tech.
And yeah, that Atmanirbhar Bharat idea is absolutely key to understanding what's driving Project Kusha. This policy is a huge, nationwide push to make India independent in really important sectors, everything from medicine to high-end defense. So developing a system like Kusha isn't just a military goal, it's a core piece of a much bigger national, economic, and strategic vision.
So what is Project Kusha exactly? Well, think of it as a multi-layered shield designed for defense in depth. It uses 3 different kinds of interceptor missiles. You've got the M1, which takes care of threats out to 150 kilometers. The M2 extends that shield out to 250 kilometers. And then there's the M3. That's the long-range powerhouse, designed to hit targets up to 400 kilometers away, putting it right in the same league as the S-400.
And this table perfectly lays out the huge strategic win of building your own system. With a foreign system like the S-400, India can't touch the source code. They're totally dependent on Russia for upgrades, and there's always that tiny nagging risk of a kill switch controlled by another country. But with Project Kusha, India has complete sovereign control. They can update their threat data instantly, and there's zero risk of someone else flipping a switch during a war. That right there is the sovereignty advantage.
All right, so how does India's homegrown project actually stack up against the battle-tested Russian system? Let's get into the numbers, because they tell a really interesting story about the trade-offs and the potential upsides.
Okay, what's really fascinating here is the sheer ambition. The S-400 is already out there, operational. It's been proven. Project Kusha is still in development, probably won't be fully ready until around 2028. But just look at the performance goals. Kusha's longest-range missile is being designed to match the S-400's 400-kilometer reach, and it's being engineered from day one to handle next-gen threats like hypersonic weapons.
And then you get to the cost, and wow, the difference is just staggering. The deal for 5 S-400 squadrons cost around 45,000 crore rupees. The estimate for 5 squadrons of Project Kusha? Just 21,700 crore. That is less than half the price. A 52% saving is a total game changer, freeing up a ton of money for other defense priorities.
Right, and that's a crucial point. The savings don't just stop when you buy it. The missiles for Project Kusha are estimated to cost about half as much as the ones for the S-400. And when you think about a system's lifespan, we're talking 25 or 30 years, having lower operating and maintenance costs because you make it all at home, well, that adds up to a massive financial and strategic advantage.
So, the end game here isn't really about choosing one or the other. It's not S-400 versus Project Kusha. It's about integration. The real strategy is to build a hybrid shield, one that combines the proven, ready-to-go capability of the S-400 with the sovereign, cheaper power of Project Kusha, all woven into a single, tough, deeply layered network.
And this grand plan actually has a name, Mission Sudarshan Chakra. It's the master plan to create a truly comprehensive national air defense grid by 2035. This is a huge shift in thinking, really. It's moving away from just protecting specific cities or bases to creating a seamless AI-powered shield that covers the entire nation. And this is what that future shield looks like. It's a true system of systems. You have the S-400 and Project Kusha forming the long-range outer layers. Underneath them, you have homegrown medium-range Akash missiles. All of it is connected by a digital backbone, getting intel from satellites and controlled by AI that can sort and prioritize threats in real time. It's the vision for a genuine 21st century defense network.
Which, of course, brings us to the final and most critical question. In a world of hypersonic missiles and AI-driven warfare, can this ambitious hybrid shield be put together fast enough to really guarantee India's strategic independence for the decades ahead? What do you think? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks so much for your time and for checking out this explainer from the Global War Watch Network. If you got something out of it, we'd really appreciate a like, share, and of course, a subscribe. And definitely join the community on our social media pages. All the links for that are waiting for you in the description below.